My name is Martha.
I'm Dawn.
I'm Renee.
And we are the Letter Ladies. We are in Clarkston, Washington, and we are at their all-class reunion. And we've been collecting stories on their sea. They are in the process of trying to restore their sea up on the hillside. And it's looking a little faint, but they're working towards it, and they want to make a permanent sea, and they're even talking about lights. So we're doing our best to try to help them.
Right there. I graduated in 1963.
Judy,
What year did you graduate?
1962.
My name's Keith.
What year did you graduate?
1962.
What's your name?
Diana Sargent.
You graduated in what year?
In 1965.
I'm Ron Adamson. I graduated in Clarkston in 1962.
What is your name?
Karen,
Okay, Karen. What year did you graduate?
73.
Harold Lookabill.
Ann Watts. I graduated in 61. Mary.
And what class were you?
I was class of 70.
My name is Sue Barado. I'm from the class of 58.
Chris Peterson. I grew up here in Clarkston, graduated in high school in 1962.
Jill Usher, graduated in 1965.
My name is Rob Setlow, and I graduated in the class of 1960.
So my name is Marilyn Gibbons Black now. We graduated in 1964 from Clarkston High School.
Hey, what's your sea story?
My senior year, I helped whitewash the sea. And we went up in my 54 Chevy. I wasn't like a real popular guy or anything, but I ended up with a carload of about 4 beautiful senior girls. I think that was a highlight of my senior year. I never went on a date with anybody that year, but I had a carload of 4 beautiful senior girls. When the year I graduated, a bunch of our seniors went up there and straightened out some of the rocks and painted the rocks. That's about a 45-degree angle up there, and it's a tough terrain to work on.
In the spring, we went up to the sea, about 20 or 30 of us, I can't remember. In the back, we'd go on this property and we'd ride in the back of pickups, before seat belts and all of that. And we'd go, they'd mix the lime with water and hoses and sprayed. We put rocks back if the rocks had fallen down. And then we sprayed all this stuff. Of course, you can imagine that half the spray got on us. And so we all came back, even though it was pretty messy, but we had a great time.
The seniors that went up that year, there were probably 25 to 30 of us. We had a chaperone with us, one of the high school teachers. The only story I really remember, when they used the whitewash, it's actually lime that had to come down from up above, and to get it to come down the hose, they had to siphon it. And when the kids would suck the hose to get it come down, until it finally, they kept sucking, and finally it hit them in the face and they got whitewashed. Oh gosh! And other than that, we just had a lot of fun.
Well, we were up there painting the sea, doing a very good job. And our geometry teacher was a pilot, and he had a private plane. And also Mr. Mosier, he was going to put his telescope on us at a certain time, and we were to turn around and wave. Well, we'd been using a torch to sort of burn some of the weeds. And as Mr. Boyer flew by and we turned to wave, the fire started going up the hill. So that year the sea had a black exclamation mark above it. But we got it. You never saw a bunch of kids move so fast in all your life.
Oh, well, Mr. Boyer, he asked a bunch of us to go up there and work on the sea one day. So one weekend we go up there we're pretty excited. I mean, it's fun, go down there and work on the sea and paint it and whatnot. So we were up there working and painting and everything was going along fine. Mr. Mosier was up there, and Mr. Boyer flies in on his plane and lands. And then he's leaving after a while, and he's in his plane taking off, and we're waving at Mr. Moyer, and all of a sudden there's a fire. I'm not sure. I don't know how the fire started. I just remember we were in a panic because it was dry and the fire was burning, and there's wheat fields, and we thought I thought we were going to jail, and we were stomping on it with our feet trying to get the grass. It didn't go very far, but we were scrambling.
And what is your sea story?
It was our senior year, and there was quite a group of us loaded up in pickups and with whitewash, and went up, and it was a very steep hill to get down.
Did you hit it from the top or from the bottom?
I'm not positive. I just remember it was really steep around the sea, and maneuvering it was interesting. But as a young person, it didn't matter that much.
Right.
The sea is a big thing. It really is a big deal. And every fall, I think it was, the guys, usually the football players, but other people got involved and went up there to clean it up and get it painted so it would be beautiful for football season.
Yeah. The senior class boys usually got together and did it. I know our class, we had a lot of people involved, and they caravanned up. And I worked in the office at that time, writing excuses for them to be out of school. Needless to say, I did not have my job very long. But it was fun.
What's your sea story?
Well, I don't really have a C story. Mine's more of an L story. One year, when they were seniors, my older brother, Bill Newberry, and Bob Faust, those are all the criminals.
Okay.
They wanted to go over and get even for the Lewiston people, rolling all the rocks down off the sea, from the top. So they decided what they were going to do is go out to Bob's place and get some stump removal material. That's called dynamite.
Okay.
Anyway, then they were going to go up there and plant it underneath the L and remove the L from the hill. I, unfortunately, was not very brave. I told them, like hell. I did talk them out of it. But they were certain they were going to blow up the L there.
We've improved the security up there because it's good. Vandals, that's a fun thing to do. Back in the days, when the Lewiston people would make it an L, roll off the top of the scene, it becomes an L. And I think, I've never heard this really happening, but I don't know why we didn't go over there and paint white across their L.
Right.
So,
We were one of the last classes to be able to go up there. We had a big bonfire, I remember, and we had a fight with Lewiston. And we were gathering all kinds of tires and wood and everything to make and they were coming over to try to destroy our bonfire. But a group of boys went over and they did something to Lewiston in revenge, for doing that.
That was the only thing Clarkston had above the L on the Lewiston side. Theirs is tiny and little and points this direction. You drive into the valley and you can see that sea from all over the valley. That was the only thing we ever had high, because they always beat us in football. They always beat us. Except the baseball game, my brother pitched a no-hitter against Lewiston and won.
my brother in the class of 50 is working on developing a better perspective on the sea. And he was working down here with a telescope. Vern Mosier's, I think he was a teacher at the school, but anyway, he was an astronomer, and he had several telescopes in his backyard. And he used the telescope with a two-way radio to guide people that were up on the sea to get a position so it looked flat. And he was giving them guidance on how to position themselves, walk east, walk west, walk up the hill and stop, and then put a stake down, And then they asked him to stand there, and so he could kind of get an idea because it wasn't painted at that point. I mean, enough for try to change the perspective. So he said, I think that's going to work. So because you couldn't see the state from the telescope, it was the whole because the sea was there already in 50, and so I was always wondering what happened to the chicken, the rooster, bantam, whatever. And he said, that's a good question. Because he said, I remember it as a kid, up there. But when I was doing the perspective thing with the telescope, I don't think it was there.
My mother graduated from Clarkston High School. Would have been probably early 30s or maybe even a little earlier. And she told me that she remembers when they put the bantam rooster on the top of the sea. And she said the person responsible for that was Mr. Mosier. And he was a science teacher at Clarkston High School. I knew Mr. Mosier. He was retired when I knew him. But anyway, he set up a telescope or transit or something, and he directed the placing of that bantam rooster on the top of the sea.
At the time we did it, it was just the sea. Prior to that, at one time there was a year involved in it, and at another time there was a bantam chicken
Up on the top, yeah.
When I was a kid, we saw the sea. It was always clear with the rooster up on top. That rooster went away because I think we got lazy and decided not to keep the rooster. But when we were in grade school here at Clarkston, you could see the rooster, and I don't know when the rooster went away.
Years ago, I forget what year he graduated, a fellow by the name of Bud McConnell. And he told me, he says, back when that sea was originally painted, put up there, it had a rooster on top of it, big rooster, but years since it's become too difficult to put it up there. And he said when it was up there, that rooster faced east. He says you never wanted to turn your back on Lewiston.
I have been to the sea a couple times. I walked up from the bottom with a group of other classmates just for a challenge, and it's not a bad climb.
What year was that?
50-year reunion, that'd be 2010, right? Yeah, 2010.
The 50th reunion, Bud Cahill, Terry Beeler, Denny Johnson, and Steve Roy went up and repainted it. And repainted it, and what we used at that time was highway striping paint. And it lasted for 5 years. But other years ago, prior to that, they used to use lime, kind of lime and water, and every year they had to redo it. And then when we did it, it lasted about 5 years. And then down in the lower left corner, at some time or another, someone poured the sea in concrete and run hoses out of the mixer truck down there to the sea, and it plugged up, and they got down to the lower left corner, and everything plugged up, and they couldn't get any more concrete, so that lower left corner of the sea is still locked.
My 50th class reunion, we bought the paint, and several of our roommates went up and repainted it. And our senior class president, and he came to me during that reunion and said, and we painted it just before the reunion. He said, my mom is 90 years old, and she woke up one morning and saw that sea and said, I'm so thrilled to see the seas back.
Wow.
So it's had a special place in this valley for many, many years.
And then I've been over there twice. It's no big deal, but it would be a big deal now.
It's a big deal now because you can't get to it. What does the sea mean to you now?
The sea means to me it's back home. It looks like back home. I find it interesting that even my granddaughters don't realize what it meant until we were talking about it one time. They had no idea that was from the high school.
Really?
Yeah. And they just didn't think about that because it doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
It's something that's rare that is kept up in smaller towns too.
Right.
I think than the bigger ones, but it's something I'm proud of. I went to school here. This is home.
This is home, and your sea is important to you, and you're part of the effort to get it restored.
I've just been reading about that, and we've been talking that maybe our class, as a class, will get involved, possibly.
That's part of the lore for us that grew up here. It was always there, but as you guys know, it's pretty hard to see today. We have raised about $20,000 in cash, and along with the Boosters Club have been a big asset. And our intention is to put a permanent fixture up there with using roofing similar to see here, metal roofing that will be, you don't have to even worry about it getting it painted, for 40 years. So,
Class of 73, this is your challenge. Donate to Lyman of the Sea.
Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome.
Please like and subscribe and support the sea down in Clarkston. It's for a good cause.
It is for a good cause. Thanks for watching.
Toodles.